Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you here for the second Pioneer Academy. So let's just jump right into it. The question we are answering today is if the Self-Drive Act putting the brakes on Tesla scaling. This question is in the Pioneer Academy by Shane. Thanks, Shane, for the question. And it's about, will the Self-Drive Act's new federal regulations slow down Tesla's ability to scale autonomous driving deployment and delay its path to full autonomy? Because as we all know, one of the main concerns that many people have about Tesla is even if they launch FSD for Robotaxi unsupervised in April, as some people, including me, think is likely because of Cybercab production ramp. The ramp of the model, the Tesla model, the Cybercab, that doesn't have a steering wheel, even though some, like Fazad, think it will have. But I think it won't have a steering wheel. Therefore, it has to be unsupervised. Therefore, the scaling of the Cybercab could be an indication that we reach an inflection point with this stock. So some people say, what about regulations? What about the government stopping the whole thing? Because we simply do not have the regulations in place that allow the scaling of unsupervised robotaxis. And so that's the question here with the Self-Drive Act moving through committee. I'm trying to assess whether it ultimately accelerates or slows Tesla's ability to scale FSD and future robotaxi deployment. If the bill doesn't pass before the new Congress, which Iran war, surveys, polls showing Republicans massively losing ground right now, the Congress might term Democratic, whatever that means, by the way. We don't know what that means for Tesla because lots of things are changing, but concerns, it could be delayed or effectively reset, especially if it becomes political or for safety reasons. That uncertainty alone could push federal rulemaking out years, which might slow national deployment and large-scale commercialization. What does this mean for our Aprilish inflection point? Beautiful question. I want to show you some exhibits here from Sawyer Merritt. Let's pray that YouTube actually plays the sound. You guys can tell me if you hear this. Let's hear what Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy has to say on the Autonomous Vehicle Day. That was last week.
We're in a race, right? Everyone is trying to have the best technology that will be deployed around the world. And I want the technology to be developed in America. I want the jobs in America. And I want the rest of the world to use American technology. I don't want to see a foreign competitor / foreign adversary / communist party beat America and have their technology deployed around the world. This is a national security issue. This is an economic issue. This is a safety issue. We're in a race, right?
Okay, so that is very important. That gives you some insights. What is going on here? First of all, Sean Duffy was close with Elon. Of course, Elon bashed him very brutally on NASA when he wanted to become NASA boss, and Elon said he's stupid and everything. But let's hope that's not, that didn't sink in too much. But you heard what the secretary says here. This is not just a little transportation issue. This is a national security issue. Autonomous vehicles, autonomous driving, he understands, is a game-changing technology that will shape the entire planet for the next decade or 2 decades to come, maybe even longer. And the United States intends to lead that race and not cede it to the Chinese, the Communist Party. And that rhetoric tells you this has highest executive priority. It also opens up the potential that this goes beyond legislation, maybe into executive orders, which can overrule a lot of things. And that is like the umbrella under that I observe this entire situation. And I believe that in fact, this is highly prioritized, that we should not be concerned about regulations at all. Here is another excerpt, also from the great Sawyer Merritt. Thanks, Sawyer, for tracking this so close up, where he has more to say. Let's watch him here on Fox Business.
But around the world. And so we want to drive safety, but also allow those innovators to innovate. We want the next generation of vehicles, which are going to be autonomous, to be American made. We don't want to see these as Chinese made, Chinese technology. We want an American technology. And so we're having a forum today. A lot of, you can see maybe behind me, a lot of our top innovators from.
You see this one here? Let me just zoom in. Can I zoom in? No. You see here the cyber cap. There's a Zoox on the left side. There's a cyber cap on the right side. So this is all about Tesla, obviously.
From Waymo, Zoox, Tesla are here. And we're going to have a day-long conversation about, again, how we can have the right rule set to keep our safety mandate, but also allow them to continue to innovate.
I mean, you wouldn't want to say that driverless cars are unsafe at this moment, would you?
No. Listen. If it wasn't safe, we would shut it all down. Like, safety is the number one mission. But again, you're having this evolution in technology, which is absolutely remarkable. And Stuart, like, we have rules. Like, you need in a car to have a steering wheel. You need a gas pedal and a brake pedal. Yeah. Like, that's a rule. But if you have an autonomous vehicle, do you need a steering wheel or gas pedals or windshield wipers? So we have to rethink some of our requirements, especially for the autonomous vehicles, which will allow them to bring down price, maintain the safety structure, but again, move forward and be competitive with the rest of the world.
Yeah, I'd feel safer with a steering wheel in the vehicle, I must confess. Sean, you've announced a new advanced...
Well, Stuart, we're of a different vintage. We like to drive, actually. I'm not the autonomous type guy, but these young people, they love this stuff. And even old people, you know, if you can't drive yourself, these vehicles will move people who've lost the ability to get behind the wheel, and take control themselves.
Sean Duffy, you're talking about me. I could use one of these things, and that's a fact. There you go. Now,
I'm not talking about you, Stuart.
Okay. You've announced...
Okay, so there you have it. Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation of the United States, takes this very seriously. Here he doubles down. China cannot win this. And he goes into some details. It's about windshield wipers. It's about the pedals. It's about the steering wheel and all these things that cars normally need to have according to regulations. And he has it clearly in his scope of action to remove these regulations and clear the path. And for him, it's high priority. That is, of course, very important to hear. And that was just a couple of days ago, or like 5 days ago. So it's very, very important what's going on here. And that makes me confident. Go back to the question that the Self-Drive Act will either get in place in time, or that there will be executive orders or otherwise regulatory exceptions. Don't forget that a lot of these things are actually written in regulations, and they don't even need legislation, which is like the big deal, to go through. And finally, not that I think that we have to wait until the midterms and the new Congress for anything. I think a lot of things have to happen before. A lot of things will happen on Tesla stock, and the Tesla substance that is underlying the stock, underwriting the stock price, will happen before. I'm quite confident here. And so I think this will be one of the most interesting things to watch. I can just repeat my old credo here. This is not about regulations. The regulations are not standing in the way of anything. The only thing that stands in the way is the technology. Whoever cracks the code for full self-driving technology will win this race and will be able to scale. When you look at the details in Texas, in Arizona, even in California, nothing stops anyone from deploying massive amounts of cars as long as they are cars and not Zooks, as long as they are cars that pass crash tests and everything that we have seen on Twitter. For example, Søren Basher published a bunch of stuff on Twitter actually about this, where he showed that the Cybercab has actually these approvals that Zoox doesn't have. He has a photo, let's see if I can find this, where he shows all the little details on the Cybercab doors that show that they have full and complete approval on the safety level, that they're a real car that is allowed to drive around and be produced. I can't find it right now, but you can look it up on X. That's why I'm very confident about this whole situation. I am bullish on April, and we will see what happens. So let's see. We have a bunch of questions here. Where is the time. Where do I see the time? I don't see the time. Okay. We have a bunch of questions here. Would you be willing to share when you think Tesla breaks 500 per share? Well, Chris Gidi, I think, what do these crowns actually mean? I don't even know do you guys know what the crowns mean? Number one, I have lots of crowns here. Number one, number three. I don't know if you guys see the crowns in the chat. Well, 500 per share. It's, I believe once Cybercap actually starts scaling and we go into multiple thousands of Cybercaps, it leads to a repricing of the entire stock. And we are not talking 500 when this happens. We are talking about doubling or more of the stock in very short order. That is what I believe. So we're talking about 800 plus. When that happens, now a lot of things can happen between then and now and then. I think that can happen in May if we get extremely lucky, but it could also happen in December or November. I don't think it can take that much longer than that. Now, as long as that doesn't happen, how do we get to 500? I think if the Iran war finally stops, my theories. I had to invent a new word instead of taco. Too many MAGA guys got too angry at me, so I call it tapa. Trump always pivots away. He doesn't chicken out, he pivots away. So he has to do this very soon. Then that would unlock a rally in the NASDAQ and in the MAC 7, and that could drive Tesla back to all-time highs, I think, even without much happening, as long as we see some deployments. So if we see any kind of movement in the unsupervised segment of the robotaxis, we go to 50 unsupervised or something, I think that would be a significant short-term catalyst. But to see the actual repricing, we need to get into serious territory. That can happen somewhere between May and I would say end of the year. When? I don't know. But there is a serious upside risk that it happens earlier than people think. That's what I'm thinking here.